And I'm back. What am I talking about? Lessons learned from 50 years of working and having 25 or more jobs or side hustles. And this is part 5. I've made a series of this. I have I have a list of jobs. Here we go. Now the last one I was talking about being a teacher, and prior to that I was a pastor. Never expected that. I actually went to seminary at Oral Roberts University, got a master's degree, came back and worked as a assistant pastor at 2 churches here in Orlando. That was that didn't work out too good, and I go over that in my previous video. But we're going to keep going forward because I have some exciting things to tell you. And stand by at the end. You're going to find out my number one job of all, even with having 2 degrees. As a teacher, I met parents and we had lots of good relationships. But here's an interesting situation. Totally unexpected. Never thought this would happen. So now I'm teaching first grade. I had some students. There were lots of students in our school that were from South America, and they come in the middle of the year, right? And so I'm teaching first grade. I already have 19 or 20 students, and I got a call from the office and say, Mr. Sullivan, it's your turn. You get the newest student coming in, and they're coming tomorrow. Okay. But little did I know there was a couple of students. So in one day, I had 3 or 4 students come in from Brazil. They didn't speak any English. I mean none. And they're what, first grade, what, 7 years old. The parents spoke little to no English. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I already have low-level students that don't speak good English. And I have to teach them to read and write. And they came in December. We're going on Christmas break soon. So they come in, I get to know them, and I team them up. These kids spoke no English. So we come back from Christmas break, and here we go. So um, through the process of extra tutoring and extra help, I met the parents. The parents were very nice and very encouraging. And I met one dad that I got to know. He would come and pick up his child, and I would say, what do you do here in the United States? And he had broken English, and he says, oh, I have a business here. In Brazil, I am an attorney, a tax attorney. I go, oh, okay. Well, he can't practice law here, but he has a business in the United States, and he had an import export business. I go, oh, okay. So over a few weeks and got to know him a little bit, and I once I said, what are you importing and exporting? And he said, oh, I'm buying light bulbs from China, and I'm having them exported to Brazil. And I go, oh, that's interesting. But he said to me one day, he goes, Mr. Sullivan, I want to go to China. I go, oh, okay, that would be cool. So the next time I saw him, he says, Mr. Sullivan, I want to go to China. He said it to me about 3 times until once I realized he wants to go to China. And he wants me to go because I speak English, right? I don't speak Portuguese, but he understands me enough to where we can communicate. I'll make the story shorter. We went to China, and I was able to take time off from work. And I took time off from work, and we went to a trade show called Canton, Canton, trade show in China. And he wanted to buy some things, and he would say, Mr. Sullivan, what can we buy and bring back to the United States and sell? Well, I was a family man, and I know sports, and you know, I'm thinking skateboards, electrical stuff, scooters, bicycles, golf carts, all these fun electric things. So we went over there and we bought some golf carts, scooters, electric stuff, and we were making a business to sell to sell. So we were buying stuff from China and bringing it over. This is unbelievable. This is like a whole nother career. This is a whole nother. So I learned how to do all this. I learned how to buy items in China. Then we had to have them shipped. So I had to learn about shipping and cost. Where are they going to be delivered? How are the trucks going to bring them in? And all this. So I learned a whole nother niche just because I met this dad. And I learned how to work on golf carts and scooters. And I was building golf carts and having them customized with big tires and lifting them with lights and paint job. And this is all crazy, crazy stuff, right? So I learned an enormous amount. Meanwhile, I'm still teaching, but I'd have never I'd have never had this experience if I wouldn't have gone into the teaching field. And so this was just mind-boggling, right? And so we began to buy more products and start to sell, and we were looking at getting a location and a shop and all that. And this was just it was amazing. And however, we did not we did not become successful enough to where um, we could have a standalone shop with golf carts. Now we had something on the side where we were building and fixing. We had a mechanic and all that, but it just never took off, and we eventually just sold everything. And so there again, a huge, huge lesson. Now, another job that I had when I told you I was tutoring, I also tried to take my tutoring job to the next level. I was trying to scale it and perhaps be able to get more business from the Brazil market. Now, I was able to make connections with several local Brazilian businessmen and tutor them. So I went from tutoring children to tutoring adult men, businessmen that, you know, they needed help with conversational English. And I was able to go to these houses for like a mobile tutoring, right? I would go into their office, and now I was tutoring not only kids but also the dads. So and I had quite a clientele over a couple of years to do this, and the word of mouth was phenomenal. And I was able to do this for quite a while, and there was ebb and flow with, they had kids and summer vacation and traveling and all that, but they would call me, Mr. Sullivan, my friend just came from Brazil, and he would give me a name and number, and I made contact, and I was able to keep my tutoring going, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So, but there came a time to where, you know what, I think I'm done with teaching, and what in the world am I going to do? And I had all these side jobs, but this is going to lead me to another job, which turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. I told you about my friend who was a detailer. His name is David, and he detailed cars excellent. And I tried to scale that, but I couldn't really get enough client. My buddy Dave had clients for years. Dave had no business card, no website, no social media. He had a cell phone and a truck with his equipment. That's it. So this shows you how um, good he was, and he didn't need anything other than a cell phone because he had business for 20 years, and he's still doing it to this day. Now he's detailing boats, making a lot more money, but detailing big boats and making a couple $1,000s per boat. But what a lesson that I learned about doing good jobs, customer service, getting referrals. But it came to Dave, and it comes to Dave so easily, which leads me to this. I also heard, and I had my wife that was telling me, you should do pressure washing. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do pressure washing. I didn't know anything about pressure washing, cleaning, whatever. So I should have listened to her early, because it was a couple years later that I realized, oh boy, there's something in pressure washing. I got on YouTube, went down the rabbit hole, and I learned about pressure washing. And I realized there is a whole industry. There's a whole there's a whole knack for cleaning a sidewalk, a pool screen, a house. And you have to be able to do it without damaging someone's house. You have to be able to use soap, water, and bleach to a point to where you're not damaging something. And it's a skill, it's a trade, actually. So I got into it, and I'm still into it. 5 years later, I have this has been a side hustle that I have done for 5 straight years. Now, what did I learn? Wait a minute. I have a master's degree in theology, I have a business degree, and now I'm doing pressure washing. Crazy. But you know what? It has been a great experience. I've been able to take all of my skills and use that customer service one-on-one, to where I had so much repeat business that they were calling me year after year to come back and say, Kev, I don't know how you did it, but my house looks amazing. And when I would go and clean their pool screen or their pool deck or whatever, and they would walk out the doors and they would say, how in the world did you do that? And it went from green, disgusting looking to pristine, travertine tile and pavers. But it's a process. You have to learn the difference between pressure washing and soft washing and bleach and soap and surfactant, cleaning a roof, a tile. But if I would have done this earlier when I was younger, I probably would have done it, and would have done it a lot longer. I have buddies that are making $100,000 a year pressure washing. Now, what's the hardest part about pressure washing is the heat. In Central Florida, the humidity is unbelievable. And that was the hardest part. So I would start early. I would be out there and starting by 8 o'clock in the morning. And I couldn't take the heat. I'd have to stop working at 1 or 2 o'clock, where guys that were half my age would work the whole day till 5, 6 p.m. And they were doing multiple houses, multiple roofs, multiple um, um, commercial jobs. And I knew my limits. I would do 1 or 2 houses a day, and I'd have neighbors come over and say, man, you're doing an awesome job. Can you do my house? And I would say, yes, if I could. Or I'd say, look, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm smoked. I'm I would get dehydrated. I would get wiped out. And I had a heck of a time, but I did it for 5 years. And I learned how to do it quicker, easier, and safer. But as you see, all these jobs just kind of built on top of each other. And I've kind of skipped a few. I've had property management jobs. I work for a staffing company. I work for a pest control company, and on and on and on. And now here I am, a YouTube creator, which is where I want to be at 62. I'm in the air conditioned room. I got a paddle fan on. I have a floor fan. I got an ice cold glass of water. And I still have some pressure washing jobs, but I have some guys that are doing it. And, I'm setting the price. I get a piece of the action. They get paid, and all is well. But now I'm a content creator. But all in all, here it is. 50 years of working. What is my number one favorite job or business? Well, it looks like it's going to be a YouTube creator. But what brought me the most money and the most satisfaction has to be a pressure washer. Crazy, I know. So when being a pressure washer and you're cleaning people's houses, it is so oddly rewarding. You ever go and maybe dust your desk or your shelf or clean a bathroom and you finally conquer the bathroom, you conquer the shower, that disgusting tub, and there's a level of satisfaction. Well, that's what I would do every single day. Where I would go to someone's house and it is gross, the driveway, the green mold here in Orlando, man, you pressure wash 12 months out of the year. And here it is, it's January and the weather's nice, and it's great to pressure wash, but the heat is on the way. But it's satisfying, and the money is good, and I love to do it. However, a funny thing happened is that I got older, and getting older and dealing with the heat is unbelievable. So there you have it. 50 years, 25 plus jobs. I've given this 5 parts, and I poured my heart out into these videos. I poured my heart out into working. I learned a lot, and now at 62, what do I want to do? I want to give back. I want to teach and talk to people that are younger than me and give back. All right. So if you like what you have heard, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, a comment. What has been your number one job through your career? Are you retired yet? Maybe you're looking for a side hustle. Do you know what? In my bio, I have I have an e-course and I also have an ebook on how to pressure wash. It's only $9.99, but I have a book that I teach people how to pressure wash. And it's kind of a motivational type thing. Find it in my bio and you can buy it. All right, that's it for now. God bless. Thanks for sticking around.